Hey guys, this is John with the Alpha Channel Update here in Los Angeles for Friday, July 26th, 2024. And I would love to tell you about 26 hours of amazing audiobooks here on YouTube. Legacy of a Mad Scientist and the Legend of Ashley Fox, about this Kung Fu superstar fighting off government assassins and serial killers in the future. And we've even got a comic book featuring her, Ashley Fox, the Last Valkyrie, where she rescues a bunch of kids from being Pizzagated by evil satanic people here in the future of Los Angeles, an anti-gravity future with flying cars and floating buildings and all that kind of awesome stuff. But before I talk to you about what I think it takes to do good writing, I'm going to show off Zero number 3. What is the title of this one? A Needle in Your Eye. I finally found a rack for these that I want to get. It's going to hold them all. We won't be able to see them quite the same way, but so this is Zero number 3, A Needle in Your Eye, and they do make some pretty good use of the space. There's not a lot of ads in this comic. This is Image. Guy's name is Edward Zero, and Mina Thorpe is his girlfriend. And they're at like a James Bond party for terrorists. These are the bad guys trying to, do some evil bad guy networking. And Mina and Edward's job is to go unnoticed, if at all possible. It's a very James Bond sort of thing. And here Edward, in an effort to maintain his cover and slip unnoticed into the air vent, has to murder a poor guy, strip out of his clothes, and squeeze himself into what looks like a 18-inch square air vent. And from there, he can better witness the display of this teleportation device that one of the bad guys is trying to sell. Now, this isn't elaborately set up or even established with anything that leads me to believe there will be some sort of follow-through. Everyone pretty much ends up dead. The guys this bad guy was going to sell it to end up dead after he takes a phone call. And then he walks out into the party, and so what you see up here is everyone at the party whose DNA has been read is now basically like Thanos demolecularized, kind of like they did in the latest James Bond movie where they used your DNA to execute you. The only one left is Edward and the bad guys. Just kind of an interesting story. He threatens this bad guy. They go back and forth with the threats, as they do. Another bad guy has got his girlfriend, and he shoots him. And they get the bad guy in there with the teleportation device, and they kill him. But just as Edward steps through, the bad guy who was shot in the head manages to walk over and turn off the teleportation device. And Edward's girlfriend, Mina, does not make it. Which is, there's some afterwards. It's an interesting book. Back here, the author goes to the, I don't know what you would call this, the extent of a magenta Cormac McCarthy Blood Meridian quote, which you should read. You should read Cormac McCarthy. You should read his whole catalog. He's only got like 8 or 10 books. If you're serious about doing fiction, if you're serious about being a writer and contributing something to the ongoing whatever that is fiction, you should make yourself familiar with Cormac McCarthy. This guy, this story, he set up a lot of big picture things and then wiped them all off the board. Apparently he assembled the world's greatest collection of terrorists and then they all killed each other. So don't ever go to that meeting, you're liable to end up dead. We also have the Wildwood Tarot for today. It's the box. Here's the book. Here's the card, the Wheel, which is really also the loom, the grindstone. Stay at it, you know? It always struck me that the guys who make the swords aren't the guys who use the swords. You know, the blacksmith, he's usually not the guy who uses the swords. So that's kind of interesting. Reading this series is Zero, Edward Zero. His last name is Zero. It reminds me of Alan de Leon's The Samurai. It's got a lot of that sort of feel, 100 bullets. If you've ever heard of a TV show called Rubicon, it was only one season, but you should check that out too. It's a very good show. It's about how think tanks hire people to find flaws in the system that are then used to exploit the system without regard for the people who get hurt along the way. Rubicon, the TV show Rubicon, is very much worth checking out. 100 bullets. I think we'll probably get to that comic eventually. It's definitely got a future here. Right now I started watching that show, Those About to Die, We Salute You, about gladiators. It's not very good. It's not very historically accurate. It's bad TV. It seems kind of that's all we're getting right now is bad stuff with nobody really putting any heart into it. There was a show, a zombie show, Z Nation. That was bad TV, but the people doing it cared. So what I'm looking at right here, Zero, I think that by the third issue there, the writer's already burnt out. He's already painting himself into corners he can't get out of. We saw the same thing in Gray. Tomorrow, we're not going to do Zero number 4. Tomorrow, in celebration of the movie, we are going to do Wolverine number 1, which has some parallels to the Zero story. This is Chris Claremont and John Buscema, who did Conan. So this is going to be tomorrow, Wolverine number 1. Anyhow, I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and yeah, come back tomorrow. See you then. Bye.